To be informed is to be empowered. And when you're empowered, you have more leverage to be engaged. Welcome to another episode at Speak Up Afrika, because we bring you conversations that aim to do exactly that. And today's conversation is not any different. However, it's very unique. I have a young, bold, energetic, extremely confident and intelligent lady who I met at a time when I honestly faced the hands of death. We were having a conversation around the budget that we have in our country that is being discussed. And we had goons coming in, and how she articulated herself made me say she has to come to Speak Up Afrika to continue speaking up and bringing these conversations. Tamara, welcome to Speak Up Afrika.
Thank you so much.
Please take it away, introduce yourself, and tell us what it is that you do at Mtoto. It's called Mtoto News?
Mtoto News International.
Fantastic.
So hi, my name is Tamara Rama. I'm 13 years old, pretty much. And I'm an advocate, advocating for child rights, and I'm also a climate advocate. Apart from that, I'm also an actor, a dancer, and also a singer. And in Mtoto News International, I have a show called Tea with Fashion, where I deal with specific different types of fashions for youth and also young teenagers. And I think that's probably me. That's it.
In a nutshell.
Yeah.
Fantastic. At 13, you're doing such a phenomenal job. I don't know where I was at 13. I think maybe grade 7. I knew I would speak, but I hadn't gotten into the space. What inspired you to get to the space of advocacy, especially for young folks?
For me, what inspired me to get into more advocacy is that I had some of my friends who kept on telling me their issues. Mostly it was about school. So most of them would come, oh my days, Tamara, this is what happened to my school, and I want this to stop. So it just got me to the point where I wanted to do advocacy and advocate for these kids and their rights mostly.
Okay. So people naturally gravitated towards you.
Yeah, I would say that.
And that's important and powerful, because for some people, advocacy is very innate. For some, they get trained on the job. So at what point do you now land a role with the Mtoto News International and start advocacy there?
So first of all, in Mtoto News International, I came in Mtoto News as an actor, first of all,
okay.
which is very surprising to some people. And then later on, we went for different types of conference where I just got the power to stand up, and the points like, yeah, I want to advocate for these kids, and they just gave me the perfect space to do that.
I remember a while back when we met, what drew me to you was your articulation and your confidence. Where does the journey begin, Tamara, with your confidence? Because I am a public speaker. So when I'm in a room where someone articulates themselves very well, it stands out for me. And you actually did stand out for me. Is it innate? Were you just born like that? Have you been trained to be this articulate? And how has that journey been for you?
For me, I haven't been trained. And the second thing, I think it was just like a talent, or like I was just born with it, because I started speaking up for problems that I had when I was like in preschool or something like that. Yeah, that's when I started speaking up what like the problems I had. So like I started my journey of advocacy when I was around 10. By that time, I was only dealing with children who go through poverty, and I still do that. So I basically started interviewing kids, asking them questions about their locations, how they live. Yeah, so that's where I really started my journey. And then later on, got the exposure of Mtoto News. So they just brought me to specific places where I just felt free talking to other people.
Okay, great. In your scope of advocacy, dealing with kids, teenagers, number one, what is your area of advocacy? What are the thematic areas that you speak on?
Okay, so I deal with different types of areas. First of all, I deal with education, which is a very broad rights, like it's a very broad place. Second of all, I deal with child rights. Like apart from education, I know education is part of child rights, but education is very broad. So I deal with child rights. That's another thing. I would say I deal with mental health, but I am not that deep into mental health, but I kind of deal with mental health. Sorry.
That's easy.
Yeah. So I mostly deal with educational purposes, online safety and child safety, and also child rights.
Okay. Let's dive into it. Tamara, it's number one painful, it's saddening, it's disheartening to see our education sector lacking the tools to
Yeah.
allow kids access quality free education.
Yeah.
And I remember what made me be drawn to you is you raised a very important question. If the government is calling it free education,
Yeah.
how free is it? Because it's expensive right from the place where you get admitted to a school.
Yeah.
Please talk to us about that.
So the point of education, that's a very broad point, but I mostly like talking about primary school and also secondary school, because I talked to a government official where they say that education is free for primary school, but in secondary school they have to pay like a certain amount.
Yeah.
So I asked them the certain amount. They say that a child is supposed to pay 700 shillings. And when I went to interview the kids I do interview with, a child raised a concern that they pay 5,200 a term for them to actually learn. And for them to actually get admitted into school, they have to pay around 1,500. Like, no, 1,500 was for the class.
Yeah.
And they have to pay 15,000 in order to get admitted to the school.
Yeah.
And then another 1,500 in class.
Yeah.
And another 1,500 for the teacher. So it actually raised a very big concern for me, because I was like, oh my days, these children literally told me that they paid school fees, and then I go to the government, they tell me that education is
It's
free.
free.
So there's like hidden cost for children that the government doesn't know. And one thing I said is that I actually went to investigate that point, found that it was true, and then we sent it to the government. So I've been waiting for them to come do something, but because most of the schools say that education is free. There's no free education. They just say that education is free, but there's never free education. That's just the truth. The truth be told, there is no free education in Kenya.
We have to pay.
Yes.
Are you hopeful that the government will give you response and at all come to the ground and change things? Number one, from the broader picture of what is happening to us at national level. I know you're very engaged, even in adult conversations. For example, the finance conversation we were having the other day, and we'll get to that. Are you hopeful the government will give you the response you're looking forward to getting?
Yes, pretty much. I hope they will, because I've talked to several government officials, and most of them are very hopeful that they will give us a response. And I'm still waiting for that, because I know at some point they will always have to do something about it when I would say the crisis gets into a larger point. So they will always have to do something about it, because at the same time we're just citizens. We're just citizens of the same country.
Yeah.
Yeah, so most of them will give response. That's what I hope they will do.
Okay. You're a Gen what, Alpha?
No, I'm actually a Gen Z.
You are a Gen Z.
Yes,
You still fall under
the last
yeah.
Gen Z.
Okay. So after us, because interesting, because I am at the very beginning of Gen Z.
Oh, that's
yes. And you fall under the last age set for Gen Zs.
Yeah.
You can see a lot of young people raising voices, engaging in conversations that are impactful. More young people are demanding for accountability. What does advocacy really mean to you, and why is it important for children to be heard, to have a voice?
Okay, for me, advocacy is actually very meaningful to me, because one point is that not every child has the space to talk out what they want to do. Because you can't, I'll give an example. You go out there, you ask a child for what do you want to be changed? The child obviously will just say, I want this to be changed, but they won't go deep into it. So advocacy actually means to me that I can actually speak for other children out there, and their point will be heard and they will be helped. So that's like advocacy is such a broad thing for me. It's like 90% of what I do, like it's actually advocacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tamara, we are living in times when it's really tough. There's a disconnect. They're changing times, let me just say that.
Yeah.
And I think you saw the Utumishi school. It was very disheartening to see that these are also young people who are doing this. And it spiraled. There was bushfire, there was a school in Kisii where a student attempted to poison food that was meant to be given to students.
Yeah, so that.
You can see the unrest that is there in school.
Yeah.
You mentioned about mental health.
Yeah.
Having a direct contact with young kids, where could you say the problem is? What is ailing kids and young people?
For me, I would actually say it comes into, first of all, I would say it's the teachers in school. Second of all, I would say it's the students not being well taught. And another thing that I'm gonna say this, it's the food in school. That's a very it's a very tough point, because I have friends in boarding schools. And most of them came back home saying, tuko na njaa, we need food in school. And then you see the point that these children in Utumishi, their point wasn't, I would say their point has not mostly been heard. Why? And most of my friends are like, oh, they just banned the school because of this. They didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think it's mostly the teachers in school, because two teachers were actually told they don't take things more seriously than they were supposed to do it. And then the other thing is that the students are not educated. So if there was a point where students were educated and told, if you do this, this is bad, and this is going to be the consequences to this, that like the Utumishi fire could never happen.
Yeah.
If they were actually told this is what is happening. Like I saw, there was a news where a student actually wrote to the teacher, Leo ni Leo, with matches, which you see at some point, some students knew, and the teachers, some of them knew, but they never take the point.
They ignored the signs.
Yes, they never take the point very clearly. They just think, this is just another one of what they do. Because they see that these children are so young, they have nothing to say, because they are minors, they won't do anything.
Yeah.
That's what most of them take it as. Because as a young child, most of them are teens. If you look into it, most of the people banning schools are teens.
Yeah.
And also most of the teens go through depression in schools, and the teachers don't even know about it. Another thing, there is no therapist in schools. That's a very hard point for children. There are never therapists in schools. So these children come to the point where they share it with the teacher, and the teacher comes to talk to it in the whole class. So it kind of brings the point of, I'm not hard, and if I tell this teacher my point, she's gonna use it as an example for the whole class. So it brings a point where these children are like, if they don't hear me out, so what am I gonna do? They're just gonna gang up and take action. So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a disconnect that even me, as the founding age set of Gen Zs, has experienced, for me even on a personal level, is the ignorance in parenting.
Yeah.
Tamara, for me, even when I was in campus, my parents and parent figures thought they know better, they've lived more, so they have all the solutions to my problems, And I tried telling them we are living in very different times, For example, in my case, it was go to school, get a good education, companies will come and handpick you for a good job. And I told them, times have changed. People are no longer in old media. People are podcasting. So if I can work and school at the same time, I am more marketable. And I love what you're doing, because at 13, if you're already doing advocacy and doing these interviews and doing podcasts, and today is a school day, you have an upper hand. Tamara, how do we address the disconnect between our parents and us? Because parents are like, ni wajuaji, you think you know it all. Ngojeni mtaona what life has for you. On the other side, sisi kwa ground, we are living in very different times. How do we bridge that gap?
Okay, for that, it's actually a very concrete point. One of my friends, I'll give an example. One of my friend's parents told them that in order for you to be to have a good career, unafaa kwenda shule usome, you go to university, you find a good grade, and then you'll just go to like direct to doctoring. So, and then she came to tell me that, and I was like, we live in different generations, of course.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you mean you're just gonna be there waiting for like 5 years or like 10 years just for someone to come pick you up and take you back to like doctoring school?
Yeah.
So the point is that most of the parents need to know that we live in different generations, and in our generation, technology is everything. I would say that technology is everything, starting from working, coming to schools, because in our own school we use phones like to actually learn. So we live in different generations, and technology is one of the main points that actually helps us as a new generation. That's what I would call it. Coming to another point is, parents will say, let me give an example. A parent who was born in like 1990 something, it's just like something. And then a child who
1990. Are you trying to call me
no,
old?
1990 something is not that old.
Okay.
You see, 1990 something is not that old. But okay, I'll give 1989.
Side eye.
1989. So if our parent was born in 1989 and they have a kid who was born like in 2023 and a kid born in 2012, 2011, you know, those like those are two different generations. That's a
Correct.
Gen Alpha and that's a Gen Z. So you see, there's like me, I also have a sister. So it's basically the same thing. Like when I go to my grandma, she's like, "Why endo usome? Ukisoma ndo utakuwa daktari."
Yeah.
And then she comes to my sister, you know, like these children are used to technology. They were born in technology.
Yeah.
So like they know more about technology than what the old generation knew about it.
Yeah.
So coming to that point is like parents need to be educated on the point that technology is actually helping children, unlike how it used to be back in the past. Because they used to take technology as, technology is just pressing on the phone, calling your friends, and then scrolling all
Yeah.
the way in
Yeah.
TikTok. That's what they take technology as. But coming to this generation, we take technology as, yeah, I can get a work through my phone. I can do this through my phone. Yeah, so like the point is that parents need to be educated on that point. Yeah.
Okay, hakuna kizuri kikosacho dosari. And as you were speaking, I was looking at how that ecosystem looks like. Tamara, it's true. Even in terms of careers, people have changed from doctors to influencers.
Yes.
From
Lawyers
to podcasters. You know, right now we are creating, even through Speak Up Afrika, because we bring you conversations that aim to inform, engage, and empower. We have podcasts that run throughout the day. You don't have to wait for 7 p.m. to get, a story on mainstream media. You actually be on people's lives and know what's happening in the country right at that time.
Yes.
But what are the dangers that are there for my generation, for our generation, and for the younger ones? Because, I mean, we have cybercrime.
Yeah.
We have bullying on the internet. I want you to speak to the younger people. Even as technology is giving us opportunities, how do we remain safe in that space?
Yeah, technology has a bad side and it also has a good side of it. So coming to the bad side, I would say that peer pressure. That's one thing. And the other one is like the cyberbullying is pretty much a high concern because that's where people get depression thoughts. Yeah, I got bullied by this person. They told me I look this, like things like that. And then coming to the point where they'll just go scroll and then like they'll take their anger on someone else. So it leads the other person into depression, and also it leads to suicide thoughts. And at the end of the day, the person will be like, oh, they called me this.
Yeah.
I'm just this.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do. So as long as technology is good on our side, it's also bad on the other side. Because as like a new generation, we need technology over there. We need our phones right here. We need our tablets right here. But coming to the other point is that technology is not always good at, like, I would say it's good by 70%, but the other 30% it lacks. First of all, there's cyberbullying. The second is like hacking. All the information you have, it's there. And what if, I'll give an example. What if someone just randomly starts texting you out of nowhere in a social media platform? You don't know the person's name, you don't know the person's age. At the end of the day, you'll be the one losing, because this person can frame you to do things like that you don't want to do. Like in social news, I'll give an example what we do. We record voiceovers of what people actually write on social media. Well, like I'll say like a point, like a very powerful point where a child got, like they went through this phrase and then they decided to bring it up to us as nutritionists. We record a voiceover to teach other kids what this happened and what is the consequences of this and what's the good side of this. So that's what nutritionists does, and that's why like we mostly protest against online protection. Yeah, the main point about nutritionists is like online protection. Yeah.
Okay. All this is empowering. I want to take us back to the point of education is not free.
Yeah.
What are the consequences at the ground level for these costs being put there?
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I'll say that education is never free. It will never, okay, if it will ever be free, that would be amazing. But for now,
It's not the reality
it's not
we're
the
living
reality.
in.
It's not the reality. So one point is that families, like I'll say an example, the family I interviewed with, their parents lack food in order for them to pay a school fees for their child to go back to school. Another thing is crime. Crime is a very broad place. But I would say that crime, in order for a child to get into crime, they have to go through something. And they don't, not everyone knows what this person went through to get into this crime. So like I interviewed a kid and they said, me, if you don't help me, find me utanipata mimi kinyonga watu. Because like they need the money in order to like help their younger siblings, in order to help at home. So it brings the point where crime is involved. Children get like they drop out of school, they have to go search for money. And for girls, it's like it's that I would say that education having cost is a very painful point for most girls, because I interviewed some young mothers and they said for them, in order to like to help their other siblings, because they're also girls, they used to go to school, they had to drop out in school to go sleep with people in order to earn the money. So it brings a point where these children have to do, like the older siblings, they have to do something in order for their younger siblings in order to survive, and also for the family to have enough food. So it brings a point where for boys it's crime, for girls it's like being a young mother. So it brings a point where if education was actually free, this couldn't have happened. But because education has like it always not free, these children have to go find a way in order for them to earn money, in order for them to help their families. And most of the parents have trust in them, because I'll give an example of me. If I had to drop out of school, I'll drop out to help my younger siblings. Because I'm the oldest and I have like a vision where I know if I help my sister study, she's gonna grow up one day and remember me. I used to help her study. So the siblings have that thought. But also they also have dreams. Most of them have dreams. I'll say an example. Whenever you see a person that says they like places in slums that they don't have talent, I'll actually go against that. I've seen so many talents, so many professional people, so many actors, so many dancers. They come from slums places. And most of them had to drop out of school in order to help their siblings. So the point, if education was free, there couldn't be crime, there couldn't be any like I'll say sexual abuse for children. So that's the main point. If education was free, there couldn't be any type of crime in Kenya. So that's the main point. And also GBV.
Okay. So lack of access to funds to go to school, so they're dropouts.
Yes.
They get into crime. Let's just call it early prostitution,
Thank you.
for girls. So because advocacy is being an intermediate, you like are the go in between. So for the government offices you've gone to and for the officials that you've talked to, what changes are you advocating for, Tamara? What would you want to see done differently that would bring a difference to our communities?
Okay, one thing that I would actually advocate for, I already said the educational part,
Mm-hmm.
but I would actually say the living costs. The living cost is very high for some families. Not every single family has that 60 bob to go out there and buy like a specific type of food for their children. Because I would say that the tax they put is very high. And then another thing is that these children need food and stuff like that. And remember, there's a woman out there, or like a father that has like 5 kids. They knew that back in the days things were very cheap.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
walikuwa najua, if like I have this amount of children, I
I'll
will
be
be able to
to
provide. So like coming to like sasa hapa nitafikiria wapi, nitalipa nyumba, nilipe bills, nitafute pesa ya school fees, niwalishe ama nifanye nini.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
know they have that only one income.
Yeah.
So like it comes to a point where the one thing that I would actually advocate for is the living cost, educational purposes, protection for children, and GBV. GBV is very bright, like it's very broad. GBV was one of the things that I actually asked for, and it really hurts to see like there were children over there who passed through GBV, and I was actually crying with them because me as a child, I feel bad to see like there's a child of my age who has gone through GBV, and I'm literally right here. What could I have done for this child? So it kind of brings the point where GBV, cost of living, education, every single thing has its own advantage and disadvantage.
Take a moment and run us through what you went through, and you felt really sorry for these kids. What was that situation? What had happened, for maybe one of our listeners or viewers to just get an in-depth picture of how gender-based violence then affects children, Tamara?
Okay, for gender-based violence, I'll tell the story. So me and my mom actually act, and my mom works with several youth. So we went for a conference event where I was part of the acting group. And there was literally a child who was being abused by her father.
Oh, wow.
And they were sitting like right there. So the child came up to me and she was crying and she was like, "Oh my days. I'm so like I saw what you did and I've gone through that. My father literally does this to me." And
Was it a sexual abuse?
it was both physical and sexual abuse.
How
So
old is
the
the
child was like around 10, like my
Wow.
younger sister's age.
Wow.
She was like around 10 and she was like, "Oh my days, that's what my dad does to me. That's what like they actually sexually abuse me. And then you know the point where is like the man can't do anything because the dad is the only income for the child. So the child had to bear with it. And the mom actually had to also bear with it because she sees her child being spoiled, but that's the only income they have in the whole family, the dad's income.
Yeah.
So it brought the point where the child was actually crying so hard, and she was like, "I wish I had a way I could like this thing could change." So that's where I got to the point where I went to one of my mom's friends who was actually working with the government. And then I told them the case, and then that's when they handled the case. And I really thank God right now the child is okay. So yeah.
It saddens my heart even as we carry on this conversation, Tamara, because you can imagine at 10 years, your parent changes you to an animal.
Yeah.
Because you will never be the same again. This girl will probably never look at men the same way. You know, that
She doesn't.
Yeah, that speaks to how they will handle relationships going
Yeah.
forward. If at all they will ever want to even start a family. And that is disheartening. Question, Tamara, do you think young people and children in this case, sometimes when you call them young, it looks like young adults. Let's say it's children. Do you think children have enough spaces to voice out what they go through, to speak up about what is happening around them? Have we created enough space for young kids to voice out what they are going through?
Okay. No. That's the actual truth. There is no enough, there's no enough space for children to go out and say their point. I'll give an example of what one of the people in the budget said. In cases, children's cases, they are mostly they are neglected. They say that in order for, let's say, a child just ran away from home, then their parents caught them and took them back to jail. And then you know what they say, that their case was only going for 6 months, but the child had to stay in prison for 4 years.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that I caught there, and I was like, there is no enough space for these children to talk out. If there was, these children could have like their own specific place, their own specific court to go talk, and these children could have a space where, oh, I feel safe with that person.
Yeah.
Let me go tell them what I'm going through.
Yeah.
I feel safe with that person. Let me go tell them what I'm going through.
Yeah.
And okay, the fact where they say that they are, I don't know, they are called child lines, child line numbers. One thing that they need to know is that not every child knows about that. Not every single child knows about there's a child line where I can go call them and tell them, hi, this is what I'm going through and I need help. Not every child knows about that. I actually tried communicating to one of the children I interviewed. They were like, oh, kuna kwanga na kitu kama hiyo.
They were not
So
aware.
I was very shocked because me myself, I know there's a child line, but coming to other places, they know that they don't even care about us. So sisi we just need to endure it until we are like the age of 18. That's when tunaweza kajisimamia. So that's there's no enough spaces for children to go talk. That's just the truth to be said. There is no space for children to go talk.
Okay. How do we move forward to create those spaces? I mean, I host podcasts here, and that is why I saw it fit to have you come and have this conversation, because it's important for us to speak up, for us to inform people, for us to engage them. And once they're informed, I believe they are given tools of power where you can be better informed and you can run away from certain things. So how, Tamara, in your opinion, can we move forward to better advocacy and better rights fighting for kids?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'll start talking about is like the child lines. I don't think, okay, it's not that I don't think, I know this. There is never enough places for children to go to. So like you see in slum places, you'll never find a child telling you that, like they will never tell you, me I know there's a line that I can call and they'll come help me. So the first thing they need to do, they advocate mostly in towns. That's what I'll see. Most of the people advocate in town. But they have never gone to places like Dandora, Kibera, Madare, the slum places. They have never gone there and say, oh, we are going to advocate here today and tell these children that kama unaona mzazi wako anakumistreat, there's this line you can call. So they only advocate in places where they know very well that if we advocate here, it's gonna spread. But it doesn't spread. It only goes to their parents, and their parents will always hide it from their children.
Yeah.
So the point where they need to go tell these children that awa watoto, like kama nyinyi watoto, if you are under the age of 18, piga hii number if you feel abused by your parents. Piga hii number if you feel abused by anyone. So the point is, advocacy needs to be everywhere, not only in places where you feel like, I'll just go here because I'm safe.
Yeah.
Like also, like I'll say, yesterday was the day of the African child. One thing I came to see is that most of the street kids are mostly neglected, and that really hurts me a lot. Most of the street kids are neglected, and I tried making that point. I didn't know how to bring it out, because you'll see people are just there, whether you're in school or like mostly we had schools there. So the school kids were mostly taken care of, where the street kids were just sitting there. Because most of them, you never know why this child is a street kid. Most of them say that our watoto walitoroka, walikuwa vichwa ngumu, but you never know kwa nini huyu mtoto ako hapo.
Yeah.
So most of them wanachukwanga as in, oh, that's a street kid. They have nothing to do. They don't have a point. So whatever they say, it's like useless to us.
Tamara, let me tell you, there's a podcast called Cleaning the Airwaves. They were highlighting a banker's story. She was framed for, and like she was put to fault, but in the wrong way. And she went to Langata Women's Prison for like about 6 months. And when she was there, she realized that there are some women who are sole breadwinners at home who are also walishikwa tu ile.
Yeah.
And the
I saw.
example she gave was, for example, hawkers.
Yeah.
Hawker ameenda job, and then kanjwa amemshika.
And then wanasema
Yeah,
tu
kanjwa
wanamwaccuse.
kimshika, you're supposed to give out like 5K or 50K. This is someone who lives from hand to mouth. The 300 they make that day is what they eat. Tamara, they don't have funds to start raising 50K.
Yeah.
What they go, wamewekwa ndani. This is a single mom probably with 3 kids. They don't have luxury of phones. So the kids are used to, sitatoka shule, mommy will come home at 8.
And then
So day
tukule.
1, they wait, the mom doesn't come. Kidogo, it's week 1, it's month 1. The landlord, biashara itasimama, the kids are kicked out. And that's how some of these kids end up being street children.
Yeah.
Tamara, I listened to that podcast and I've never viewed street children the same way.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to emphasize on what you've said. Yes, there are kids who are in the street because
Of their own choices.
yeah, but how many kids do we have there who their fate was so unfortunate?
Yeah.
And then when they are there, you get to 10, someone sexually molests you, you're pregnant. Where will you give birth? There.
Yeah. I've seen that several times.
Yeah.
And I'll actually raise the point of being framed. I'll say this. If there was actually a child lawyer in Kenya, a child judge, anyone who just deals with children and actually wants to protect their case, there could have been one.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that there is never one person that was told that utaenda pale and then you have to defend this kid. Okay, we get that kids do like wrong things.
Yeah.
But the point is, a kid was framed. I'll give the point here. I think it's juvie or something.
Mhm.
Juvie. Most of the kids in juvie, I would say like 90% of them were framed. The 10% they did it, but 90% of them are framed. Because you can't tell me like, I'll pay you certain amount of money. You go like frame that kid, and you know very well your child did it.
Yeah.
Or I'll pay you this amount of money because we didn't find who the suspect was.
Yeah.
I'll pay you this amount of money. You go pick a random child and bring them to prison.
Yeah.
So the point is being framed. It's actually a very big point in Kenya
Yeah.
because several people are in jail right now. Several people are framed. Several people are like literally getting hurt, but they don't investigate. Why did this person do this? What happened to this person?
Yeah.
Like I saw a case where a child was actually put in jail for actually having self-defense. She was being like the father was abusing the mom. So the child hit the father and the father died. So, and then the kid was taken into jail being told that he's a murderer.
Yeah.
But they don't actually investigate why this kid did that.
Yeah.
So the point of children being framed, the point of street kids, people taking this street kid, the point of parents being put in jail for no reason, it's actually a very big point in Kenya. Because several street kids are out there. Most of them, like my mom actually went to a conference because she works with different organizations. And then she heard that there were street kids there. Most of them came out telling them that, oh, tulifukuzwa. And I was me, my mom, my dad, and people like that. And like the whole family, tulifukuzwa. So walikaa pamoja, and then like they started getting hit by police people. And then watoto wakaanza kutoroka. So from then, those kids know that wazazi wao waliwaacha. They stopped looking for them. So the point is, our watoto, not all of them know where they are. Not all of them know that their parents abandoned them. Most of them, it's just like the situation. And their parents are still looking for them out there. It's just that the government doesn't take them that serious.
Yeah.
They'll take the point as, oh, ule ni mtoto, ule ni street kids. Kitu yote nye anasema ni uongo. Because these kids, most of them, they say that wanatumia, I don't know what they think they call, but like they use glue. I think it's
Yes,
called
glue,
glue.
gum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just say drugs.
Yeah, drugs. Watasema ati hawa wanatumia drugs wajukla wanasema hawa like they don't even know who their parents are.
Yeah.
Maybe hata wazazi walikufa or like maybe waliua wazazi wao. That's what they mostly say. And then the point where these street kids are actually abused, it's a very big point because mtoto anaabusiwa with one of the citizens mwenye ako hapo.
Yeah.
And then like wanakuja afterwards, they say that kama mtoto alijaribu kuweka self defense, they say that mtoto alinipiga for no reason na sikumfanyia kitu yoyote. And you see, because these are street kids, the police will side with the other people.
Yeah.
They'll say, ulimpiga kwa nini? And then they take them to jail. That doesn't sound fair for anyone.
Yeah.
Even if it was me, I would be so sad about that because unanichukua juu unanipeleka mali sijui, and I only had self-defense. Most of them are sexually abused, and like the girls, you'll always find a street kid girl with a baby. And when you try to ask the point where they say, mtoto hata sijui babake ni nani.
Yeah.
They are just like, oh, I was sexually abused and I don't know what to do. And then the other point is that I'll actually say that also coming to boy places, like for boy child, I don't think there are enough like organizations that support boy child, because I'll say 80% of like Kenyan organizations, most of them deal with like only girls.
Yeah.
But coming to the other point is that boys also, they have like some things they need to do. Like one of my friends was like, kwa nini only wasichana ndo nakujanga shule kupewa pads? Kwa nini boys, kwani si hatuna nini, we don't have needs? Kwa nini hatukujangi kupewa vitu kama boxers shule?
Yeah.
So I was like, kai, mnataka mkuje mpewe boxers shule? And then he was like, kama nyi mnapata pads, kwa nini si tusipate boxers?
Yeah.
Because also we are in need of them. It's
Yeah.
not that only girls wanafaa hizo vitu.
Yeah.
So the point like hakuna organizations mingi zinadili na maboys.
And I think this comes at a timely season for the conversation because this is June and we are advocating for men's mental health. When you're in your line of duty, let me call it that, and you're doing your advocacy, what challenges do young boys face, the ones you've been able to hold a conversation with?
Most of them, it's neglect from like different parents. And I would actually say to the dads, okay, I'm sorry, but for the dads, boys actually felt neglect from them. You see, a boy would actually want to talk to their dad and be like, oh, dad, this is what nilipata shule, kitu niliona. And then you know the dad is like, the dad needs to be happy for the child. But the dad is like, wendo kuonyesha mamako. And then most of the boys, like I'll say, most of them are not like, that's my mom. And this is a man-to-man kind of
conversation.
talk.
Yeah.
So most of them like neglect and also depression from like, you see, they say that, kama we ni kijana, you need to do like this specific thing. You are the man of the house.
Toughen up.
Yes, toughen up. And they say that boys are not allowed to cry. Me, I actually go against that. Me, I tell my friends, cry. Cry whatever you want. Cry for me. Cry for anyone in your whole life. Because like, at the end of the day, they are still human beings. At the end of the day, even if they are boys, even if they are men, even if you are who you are, you have to. Because it's like it's mental health for these people.
Yeah.
Men, they have a point where people say, bro, you need to toughen up.
Yeah.
You are a man.
Yeah.
You have to toughen up. And then in the other side, behind their mind, they're like, yeah, I'm a tough man. But in their heart, they feel like the sorrow. They feel the sadness. So whether you are a man or not, you are just a human being. At the end of the day, you'll be a human being. At the end of the day, you're not a robot. You won't be like, you're given commands. End up inje, you take the trash out. End up inje, you do this. And you are not supposed to cry. At the end of the day, you're still a man. You're still a human being.
And you have feelings.
Yes.
Okay. Tamara, let me ask you, if you sample friends and kids who are in your space of operation at home and at school, do you have male friends or acquaintances who are very articulate like you, who are engaged like you are? Ukiangalia the girl child na the boy child, which gender is more advantaged?
Okay, I wouldn't say that both. Okay, everyone has their own point of advocacy. But I also do have friends when they have their own point. So most of my friends actually advocate for different types of positions. Like they do that we are with during the budget thing. Most of them, we work in the same organization. We all advocate for different types of things. And I wouldn't say that a girl is more confident than a boy or a boy is more confident than a girl. At the end of the day, we are still human beings. So,
but when you look at the numbers,
when I look at the numbers, I'll see more girls.
More girls.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I ask you that, I just wanted to throw a spanner into the works and say, you know, at teenagehood, that's where you start self-discovery.
Yeah.
You'll try a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you know. Because for me, now as a young adult, you realize you've really advanced more than the boys. So in your age set, it's difficult to even date Tamara, you know, because you're even mentally and intellectually more advanced and privileged than the boys.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to bring to you and say, because it starts from where you are. You know, you're at a stage where you start discovering you're pretty. You can get a boyfriend here and there, but the boys are not there, because when they come to you, you're sort of a big sister, you know, and you can't look at them like
The
a
same
boyfriend.
way.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted to know that, but we really take note of that. Let's get back to the school ecosystem.
Can I bring out a point?
Yes, please.
First of all, the part where you spoke about boyfriends, I'll actually say this point. I don't know why, but you see, have you heard about the people, girls getting lost? Have you heard the point of where girls get lost? Most of them. I'll actually bring this out. There was an article that I read, and they say that for girls to get lost, they have boyfriends. Most of them have boyfriends. Most of them, they go out wearing short things, and that's when they get kidnapped or killed. So, and then I brought this point to my friends, and then they were like, this doesn't make sense at all. Because at the end of the day, you'll find out that a girl was killed. For what reason? Maybe they were killed by a girl themselves. Maybe they don't have a boyfriend. And then, most of them, they say that if you're a teenager and you get lost, most of them say that you're near, whether you're with your boyfriend or something like that. So at the end of the day, they never investigate your case. They'll just say, alikuwa ameenda kwa boyfriend yake, mara alikuwa na huyu. And at the end of the day, wanasemanga tu you had a boy with you. Each and every case I read for girls, mostly teen, she had a boy with her. She had a boy with her. So I'm like, kwani these are human beings. Of course we have friends. Of course we have like both gender friends. But at the end of the day, mtu anakuja anasema that you got lost because you had a boy. They don't investigate the point where maybe you got lost because of a certain thing. Most of them wanasema ati if a girl gets killed, ni boyfriend yake alienda kumit na stranger mwenye ajui. At the end of the day, wajui ni nani alimua. Like I saw there was like a girl in, I don't know, in Kamiti or something. Alikuwa anasema that their friend got killed and she witnessed it, but she got killed by her friend, and then the friend accused her. So unaona ina bring the point that huyu ni kijana, so boys are more capable of killing. This is a girl, she's not capable of killing.
Wow, yeah.
So ina bring out the point that girls are prostitutes. Most of them. Like, I'll say, I won't even say most of them. I'll say most of them think that 100% of the girls are prostitutes.
Yeah.
And then they will see that, this is a boy. Of course, he's capable of killing this dude. This is a man. Of course, he's capable of sexually abusing. At the end of the day, they never know who did it. They'll just frame like a random person. Any close person to the victim, they'll see that's the suspect. So the point is, whether you are a girl, whether you are a boy, there is no point that unasema ati the girl alikidnapiwa, aliuliwa because she had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
That thing is lies. That thing is cap. Nobody will ever say that umuliwa because you had a boyfriend. That thing is never true.
I think the society has stereotyped that, and just to take it a notch higher and say this, you'll see even when we have politicians who have been unalived and they are male,
Yes.
there's always a female counterpart thrown somewhere.
Yes.
They were in a room with a lady. They were having a conversation with
With
a
a
lady.
lady.
There will always be a woman who is put in the scene of
Yes.
crime or murder. And I've never really thought about it. And thank you for bringing that up, because girls, we've been sexualized and men have been criminalized.
Yes.
That's it. So, yeah, and it's a stereotype that needs to be unpacked.
Yes.
Tamara, I'm sure I'll be bringing you back to this podcast because we are yet to touch the tip of unearthing what is happening to young people. But I think today let's bring a few solutions that you would want to just help bring back sanity. Schools are a place where young people are spending a lot of time.
Yeah.
I think if you're in boarding, umelelewa na teachers. Even when you're a day scholar, you spend most of your time in
with
school.
Teachers.
Earlier in our conversation as we began, you said we don't have enough therapists in school. We don't have enough aids and tools in school to help kids be heard. Tamara, how would the school environment be made more child-friendly to help mitigate some of these things we are seeing in our society?
Okay, for me, I would say that I would actually, I think I would actually say like the CEO of my organization's point. One thing, hatutaki watu wenye wameenda kusomea kitu 4 months peke yake, ama wameenda kupiga story wakaona wanasaidia huyu mtu, that wanakuja kusaidia watoto. So one thing they need to do in schools is like have a therapy. And that therapy afai kukuwa ati ameenda pale nje akaona amesaidia rafiki yake. Anakuja kusema that she's a therapist. Hakuna when utasema ati you went to sit near. Okay, I'll give an example. I go sit with a dog and a cat, and then I figure out the solution why the dog was sad. You can't call me a therapist for sure. You can't. And then you see, that's the same thing. You go to your friend, you give them advice, and then it helps them. Unakuja shule unasema that you're a therapist. And then another point is that teachers, I think teachers need to be educated more on the part where mtoto anakuja na kuambia shida yake, unaikuja una use as an example for the whole class. Maybe that thing happens to me and I actually felt like crying. I'll give an example of my story. I used to be in a public school. That's when I actually knew about public school the most. I used to go to a public school. And then you see that back like you see where you grow and then you have like your face starts breaking out. So I went to a public school and then I talked to the teachers because I was getting literally bullied. I talked to the teacher and I was like, oh, I'm getting bullied by these certain girls. Please help me, please. And then the teacher comes to class and says, mimi sitaki kuona kesi mingi kama kesi ya Tamara.
Oh no.
You see, and then you see the whole class was like, ulienda kuambia teacher.
So now you look like a snitch.
Yes, exactly. And then you see, that's where I started losing most of my friends. And it reached a point where I was like, oh, I'm never meant to talk out. I'm not even meant to do these specific things. So ilifika to a point where I actually even cried to my mom and was like, please nitoe to public school. Me, I'm done. Because you go to school, you tell a teacher your point, the teacher comes out, and then the staff room meetings. So there was a time where there was a rumor spreading in school. That's another story. There was a rumor spreading. And then you know how public schools are. Back in the days they used to be either a hospital or a prison or what's it called? A cemetery. So you see, as we had rumors that there used to be an old woman who cooked red chapatis in the washroom.
Yeah.
So you see, and then I was actually told that story. So I went to ask one of my friends and she was like, oh yeah, I also heard of that. And then we were called into the office and then we had the principals talking about our cases. They were like, watoto wanapenda kusumbua. Sasa kesi za chapati zimetoka wapi? Kwanza ule msichana anaitwa Tamara. Yo mtoto naenda kumchapa. And then the other teachers wana complain about their students. About how the students are so disturbing. So the point is, in public schools, even in private schools, any type of school, we need therapists. That's the only point. We need therapists and child-friendly therapists or psychologists. Because you can't tell me unaenda to a point unasema tu ni therapist.
Yeah.
That's not fair. We need people when you ameenda shule kusomea therapist. That's what we need. And then you see organizations. I'll give an example of my organization. we actually have therapists in my organization, because you can't say any child who smiles always have like a backstory of their smile, because you can't tell me that utaona ule mtoto ana smile and then utaona mtoto ako sawa, and that's in schools. That's what most teachers do. Unaona mtoto ako sawa and then huyu hata fake kitu yoyote, ako sawa, mzazi wake ako sawa, they are good, but you never know what's up behind that smile. Because we had a child in like my old school last year. She almost took her life because of the pressure alikuwa anapewa shule na wazazi. This child actually wanted to become a singer. Parents are forcing her to become a doctor. The parents told the teacher, so the teacher anamwambia kuwe daktari. And then you see she has no one to talk to. The child almost took her own life in school. So I bring the point that where if you have a smile, you are good. You don't need anything. So like every child who has a smile, always look behind their background. So that's the point. We need child therapists in schools and friendly child therapists. Mtu mwenye utaambia kesi yako asiende kuambia walimu, niliambiwa na ule mtoto atanifanya hivi. That's one point yenye inaharibu mashule mingi. Even if you come to check about it, if they actually investigate the Utumishi girls case, you'll actually find there was something like that. If you even ask the children, there was something like that.
And teachers need to be better educated.
Yes,
But before kids can even get to school, education should be made affordable.
Yes.
Okay. So when they leave school and they come home, Tamara, what do you tell our parents to help us become better kids even to them and to bring a peaceful ecosystem of understanding?
I think it's the pressure that the parents put on the kids.
Okay.
The pressure is very high. Like I was talking to one of my friends, and he's about like to do his examinations. So you see, he goes back home. He's from school. He goes back home. He just needs a time to relax, and then the parent is like, "Unajua unafanya exam, hebu enda ukasome." And then the child is like, "Oh my days, nimesoma shule, nimesoma home. I can't even have enough space to breathe." Whenever they're in school, I think it happens to all schools. Whenever you're in school and you're a candidate, you have to go learn. Whether you're eating break, you're eating lunch, you need to learn at that point. There's no free time. So like you see, the child anaenda home, bado the parent is putting pressure on them, anawambia, you need to study, unafanya exam. Whenever they touch a phone, their parent is like, yo simu unafanyia nini? And then like most of the parents are like, yani umeshika simu, nilikwambia mara ngapi achane na hii simu. So like parents should stop putting pressure on their children. You never know what a child is capable of doing. If you never put pressure on your child, you never know what's capable of the child doing. Because most of the children you'll see, when pass like most of the exams, their parents don't put pressure on them. Parents wanasemanga, nataka ukeka mule mtoto.
Comparing children.
Comparing is even another case, because like, uliona ule mtoto ube alipass, nataka ukuweka mule mtoto. And then another one is like, kwanza if you have like smart siblings, like let's say you have your own different way of learning, and you're like your younger sibling or like your older sibling is brave, and then you see your parents ako zile za, unaona sister yako amekushinda kwa akili. So you kind of see the comparing, and then it makes the children go into depression. Napata depression shule, napata depression home, and then you have no friends to talk to. So hiyo kukosa kukua open na mzazi, ukose kuwa open na walimu, it brings the point when this child says that I'm not capable of doing this.
And
I'm just like mi niko tu, mi bora nimefanya exam, I'm nothing to anyone. So that's what they mostly do.
Okay. I appreciate the work that you're doing, even for you being able to be this articulate. What does the future look like for Tamara? Where do you see yourself? It could be in a couple of months, in a couple of years. Which facet of life would you want to really explore?
I think that question. For me, I think that I'll actually wanna continue the advocacy, but in a more different way. I'll actually wanna continue with advocacy in law. That's like the main thing that I wanna do. I really wanna look at child cases and know that, oh, this child did this and this child did that.
Yeah.
Why did they do this? I wanna be the person who like you run up to and I'll investigate your case. I want to be the person to ngoja 30 days ngoja kwanza niangalie kesi ingine and then tarudi kwako.
Yes.
Like you see, I don't know if I'm the only person who had this. The girls in Utumishi, they were told that their case will be given 30 days.
Yeah.
And then wakirudi, ndo watakuja waangalie the whole case. Trust me, the boy that we were with during the budget, what
Yeah.
did he say? If a child was told atapewa 30 days, 10 days, and then kesi yake itarudishwa, trust me that huyo mtoto atakaa jela for the rest of their years.
Yeah.
And then most of them are framed. Utakaa jela for the rest of your years. And then after like 6 years, ndo kesi yako inakuja inafunguliwa. So that's what he said. And that's the point that I always have in my mind. I always want to be a child judge. I don't care how I'm going to live, but
you will bring the change. And it's possible. So children never have justice as their shield and defender.
Yes.
So Tamara, Speak Up Africa is a space where we bring such conversations that aim to inform, engage, and empower. And probably there's a young person who will listen to this, who will watch us and say, I would want to speak to Tamara. I would want to sort of work with Tamara. Sometimes problem half shared, it is half solved. It's disheartening that we're living in times where people are discrediting that and saying, oh, people are walking serpents,
Yeah.
But I always say there are still rays of hope. How do we connect with your organization? How do we connect with you at all before we have you coming back here at Speak Up Africa to have more conversations?
For me, first of all, I didn't actually even introduce what I mostly do. I just noticed that right now. So for me, coming to fashion, you can talk to my organization, Mtoto News International, and you can search up their website, totonewsinternational.com. And you can go to YouTube to watch one of my shows. It's called Tia with Fashion. It's part of the News Insights. And
please spell Tia.
TIA.
Okay.
With Tia. With Fashion with Tia.
Okay.
So it's like Fashion with Tia.
Okay.
That's part of the News Insights. Apart from that, you can communicate with me about what children are going through.
Okay.
I have an organization where it's called What You Say Matters.
Okay.
So it's an organization where I talk to children, ask them what they want to be changed. Example, like what you are doing right now.
Yeah.
I mostly deal with kids.
Okay.
So my main focus is on kids from the age of 3 to the age of 18.
Okay.
So it's called What You Say Matters. I mostly interview kids, what they do, what's their problem, what's their family problem. And for you to contact me, you can contact me with 0726 58 19 56.
That's your camera.
Yes, 0726 58 19 56 or 0707 169 296. That's how you can contact me.
Okay.
Or in social media platforms, you can contact me with official_ Tamara KE.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Do you have
or
okay.
Tia, like T1A X_I.
We'll be sure to put all those graphics so that it's easier to have our viewers, get help, because we all need each other to make this world a better place.
Yes.
Do you have any other parting shots before we wind up the show?
I don't actually think so, but the main concern I will be working on, it's like educational, the cost of living.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tamara. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming here and shedding light to what is happening to our kids, in the society. And we pray that justice will be our shield and defender, and that truly we will live in times when we have human dignity right from childhood all the way to adulthood and at old age. Thank you for coming.
Thank you too.
Fantastic. That was quite an episode, very enlightening, very insightful, even for me as I sat here and talked to Tamara, and we'll be sure to have her back so that we can continue these conversations and even have more partnerships. Thank you for watching us in this episode. Be sure to link up with Tamara. And again, speak up, speak up, speak up. Let's continue engaging in these conversations, because here at Speak Up Africa, we aim to bring you conversations that inform, engage, and empower. And thank you for joining us in this episode. For now, I will love you and leave you. My name is Wendy Loyce. I will be seeing you on the next one. Kwaheri.